Hey guys, here to talk to you today about my Watts Premier RO Pure reverse osmosis water filter system. So the problem that I'm having with it is that after you turn it on and let it run for a little bit, fill up your glass, you're done, it continues to drain. So if you listen, you hear that noise. And what'll happen is water now continues to drain out of the tank and into the water drain. So down below the sink here, we've got our reverse osmosis system. And got our pressure tank. And so what has to happen now is, what's probably happening is that a couple of things. That the pressure is not correct in the tank. So I've written it here on the side. So when the tank is empty, it should be set at 5 to 7 psi. And so if you unscrew this little blue cover here, there's an air valve that you can hook up to a bicycle pump or an air compressor to put pressure in this tank. But you want to do it when it's empty, okay? And only 5 to 7 pounds. So how to know what the problem is. So when you continue to hear water draining, and so what's happening is, you can see right here, this is the overflow coming from this system. It goes up to the valve, to the water valve that I just showed you up top. And any excess water coming from this system comes back down this black tube and into the water drain. And that's what I continue to hear gurgling in my sink, is water continuing to flow out of this system and down into the water drain. So here on the top of the tank is a valve. So if you close this valve, what should happen is a couple of things, right? Either the water continues to drain out, like I just heard it again, or it stops. And so if it stops draining before the 5-minute mark after you close the valve, it's actually the pressure's not correct in the tank. If you close the valve on top of the tank and the water continues to run after the 5-minute mark, then the issue is more than likely your auto shutoff valve, which is this little guy right here. You got, you hear it doesn't like me messing with it. It starts humming. It's got 2 lines going in, 2 lines going out, almost always blue and green. So again, if you shut this valve on the tank and it stops draining into the drain before 5 minutes, it's the pressure in the tank. If it continues draining after 5 minutes, you need to replace this shutoff valve. Let's start with the easy one, the shutoff valve. If you have to replace it, it's pretty simple to do. First thing you want to always do is turn off the flow of water into the system. And so you just turn, there's usually a valve, probably looks something like this. Turn the valve so that it's going across your hose, and that'll be closed, okay? So you turn that, close the water off so that you don't have water flowing in. Then the way these work is you have these, see these little pieces right here? Basically, if you push in on these little white pieces while you pull down on the hose, those will come out. Now make sure you have a towel handy because you're gonna get water everywhere. You've already turned off the pressure because you've turned off the water flow, but there is water in the system. So you basically, I replaced mine a while back. What I did was, as I took a hose off, I attached it to the new valve so that I wouldn't mix anything up. You can see right here on this valve, it does have an in and an out. So take a look at that before you take it off. Make sure you've got it flowing the right direction when you put it back in. Okay, so just unattach each hose, attach it to the new one, and then you'll be ready to go. Then you can turn your water back on, turn your tank valve back on, and you should be ready to go. Okay, so now the second issue that could be causing our system to continue to drain would be low pressure in the tank. So again, make sure that your flow of water is turned off. Your tank valve should be open and all the filters still in place. Then you want to just make sure that just turn on your water faucet. And what you're doing now is you're draining this tank in the system. And so you can actually check the pressure in the tank. Right, so right now mine's at 17.5. And so when your tank has water in it, it's going to be at some pressure. The company will tell you that you can figure out what that pressure is, but you have to know what your incoming water pressure from the city or well is. If you don't know that, then it's not really going to do you much good. So the main thing is to know that empty, this tank should be between 5 and 7 psi. And so you can see I bought this digital tire pressure gauge because my regular tire pressure gauge, just the manual ones, don't go down as far as 5 to 7 psi. So sit and let your system empty, and then we'll go from there. Okay, now the system is drained. The water has stopped running. I'm going to apply some air pressure just to make sure. And yes, so no more water coming out. So we're good to go. Next step, you don't have to do this, but Premier says it's good to remove the blue filter while you're filling the tank with air pressure and water. So remove the blue filter. To remove the blue filter, you simply just push in on this button and pull the filter down. Be careful, it is full of water, so you will need a towel, and it's gonna spew some water at you a little bit, but doesn't make too big of a mess. Final step is to refill the tank. So I took my air nozzle attached to my air compressor, or you can use your bicycle pump, attach it to this air nozzle that's just like what you see on your bicycle tires. I filled mine to 7 pounds, so anywhere empty between 5 to 7 psi is great. And so make sure that your water faucet's turned off, and then you want to open up your water supply. So open that valve back up, and it's going to start filling this tank up slowly, very slowly. So right now You can see it's light and it's empty, and over about a 5 to 6 hour period, it's going to slowly fill this tank back up. So probably after about 6 hours, you should be good. You can then reinstall your blue filter by just taking it and pushing it up into the hole. It'll snap into place. Then you can test your system by turning on your water faucet, and you should have really good pressure. And once you turn it off, you'll hear the initial water leak through the system, you know, down the drain. And then after that, you should hear nothing else. I hope this is helpful to everyone. I appreciate you watching.